Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada. Get ready. Prepare for blast off.
Your fortress of solitude.
Greetings, program.
Glad you're alive.
Your sanctum sanctorum.
Resistance is futile.
Welcome.
This your first triumph. This is where the fun begins.
Proof positive that geeks have inherited the earth.
It's showtime.
It's time to get your geek on.
You complete me.
With Dave Gramillion.
All right. Happy Sunday out there to you, San Antonio, Texas, the rest of the United States that's listening in, and our international audience, Canada, the UK, Malaysia, Singapore, and so on and so forth. I am Dave Gramillion, and welcome to Get Your Geek On, powered by the Texas Renaissance Festival. With over 650,000 people attending the event from September 29th to November 25th, get your tickets at texrenfest.com. This is the premier talk radio show for Star Wars, Star Trek, DC, Marvel, esports, really all things geek that have dominated this little world of ours. You see, geek is not what it was 20 or 30 years ago. Geek is in. Geek is very in. Geek is now the mainstream, and we are here to talk the latest and greatest that is geek right here on Freedom 1160 Talk Radio and Freedom1160.com. This is Season 3, Episode 6, and today we have a very special live semi-live show going on. We tend to pre-record a lot of our shows here, and in continuing with that tradition, we have a pre-recorded interview with Star Wars voice actor Steven Stanton, most notably known from the Clone Wars and the Rebels series. He'll be speaking to us here shortly. We got his reaction to the news that the Clone Wars had returned, and that news came courtesy of the San Diego Comic-Con. Whoa. Man, that Comic-Con is just busting with news, and we are going to spend the entire second half of the show after the bottom of the hour news break talking about all the news from San Diego Comic-Con. It's that much. It's tremendous. I could probably spend 3 shows breaking down what went on at the San Diego Comic-Con and probably still not cover it all. I mean, it's impossible. There'll be the attendance will be about 150 to 200,000 people. It's a week and a half long event. Extravaganza, bonanza out there on the West Coast. But don't worry, we'll keep it nice and concise. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Also, James Gunn, the fabled director of Guardians of the Galaxy, has been fired for tweets that he made almost a decade ago and since apologized for in 2012. Yeah, I think there's a little more fire to this smoke, but we'll get into that as well. Let me go ahead and introduce my motley crew here for you. On my left, your right, as you look across the radio dial, you will see the young man who has come in here over the summer. He's sitting in the chair. He's at the mic. We like to call him clickbait, but he's also known as Alex Chavez.
Hey.
How you doing?
I am doing great, David. I'm super excited about all the San Diego Comic-Con news.
So much news.
Super stoked to get into that.
So much news. All right. And further to my left, your right, across the radio dial, you will see the man spinning the ones and zeros. You would normally be seeing Goose. But unfortunately, Goose is in the live studio. We got this whole like glass divider thing going on. So Goose at this point is better seen and not heard.
Or heard but not seen.
Or the other way around. That's how it's radio. So it is heard and not seen.
Yeah, heard, not seen.
Absolutely. Yes. So Goose, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. It actually, this room actually smells better.
It does, doesn't it? It's got this breath of
No, the room that I'm in smells better than typically when we do the show.
I think he's implying that because we're not in that room, it smells better.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting that vibe, so that'll probably be the last we hear from Goose.
Don't count on that.
All righty. That'll be Brian.Downs at Salem's. What was your email so people can send the complaints?
It would be Brian.Downs at SalemCommunications.com.
Excellent. All righty. So before we get into our interview with Steven Stanton, I want to take a second to talk about the Texas Renaissance Festival. It is the largest Renaissance festival in North America. Hands down, bar none. And you are cordially invited to attend this year, September 29th to November 25th. There are themed weekends going on. Oh, yes. So many themed weekends. There's camping. They have over 200 acres of camping available. This is an area just to the northwest of Houston. It's nice and secluded. Everybody that goes there has a great time. I have yet to hear anybody tell me that they had a bad time at the Texas Renaissance Festival. It just hasn't happened. And you can get your tickets out there at TexRenFest.com for any of the theme weekends, campground, food and drink specials, the whole 9 yards, merchandise available. You get those cool little tankards and everything. All of that available at TexRenFest.com. All right, so let's, without further ado, let's go ahead and we will bring on our fabled guest, the legendary Star Wars voice actor, and he is Steven Stanton. Mr. Steven Stanton, I want to thank you, sir, for taking time out of your day to come speak to us here on Freedom 1160. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, David, I'm doing pretty good, and happy anniversary to you and your wife.
Aw, thank you. We just got, I'm all geeking out now over here. Okay, let me return to my professional self. I got to ask, in regards to this Clone Wars news, now that we're getting this rebirth, this resurgence, of course, you probably knew and kept it under wraps, but what's your first reaction to seeing the fans react to this announcement?
Actually, I didn't know anything about it. It was brand new news to me today, just along with everybody else. It was very exciting to hear, though, and I love the fans' reaction. It was great to see. But yeah, Lucasfilm, Dave Filoni, they're great at keeping things under wraps, and it was a surprise to me and a wonderful surprise.
So, what was your first reaction?
I was stunned. It's great to hear, though, because the show had such a loyal following, and you think back now, like 10 years ago, we had fans that were like 8-10 years old, college, have jobs, they're adults, some of them married and have their own kids, and it's great to see them having the chance to finish that show the way Dave Filoni always wanted to, because the fans always felt like, well, it really didn't wrap up the way they hoped it might, and now it looks like we're going to get a chance to see that.
Well, let me ask the obvious question. Have you been approached to come back and reprise your role either as Tarkin or maybe even do a little Obi-Wan Kenobi work?
Hey, it's like I said, this is all new to me. I haven't talked to anybody. First I've heard of it, so I have no idea where it's going to go from here on in. You're talking to somebody I may as well have been sitting in the audience with the fans, because I didn't know anything about it until today.
That's incredible. I love it. So you're getting the news as fresh as we are. All the reactions are fresh. The emotions are fresh. Although I imagine it's a little different for you, seeing as how you've worked with so many of these characters and actors over so many years and worked so closely with Dave Filoni. How much of this, just asking on your speculation, how much of this do you think was Dave fighting to get this series back? And how much of it might have been the fans' impact?
It's probably a combination of both. I mean, Dave was talking about how hardly a day goes by where he doesn't get, somebody tweeting at him or messaging him saying, hashtag save the Clone Wars. So, I'm sure it was a group decision over there at Lucasfilm. I mean, they had a lot of people that were involved with that over the years, and I'm sure, they were happy to see it come back, just because the fans have been so loyal for so long. I mean, it isn't as if this show, from 10 years ago, nobody remembers. The opposite, everybody remembers it. So I'm sure they're all happy to be working on it again. I know D. Baker has got to be absolutely thrilled. He loved working on that show, and he did such a great job playing all the different clones.
I mean, it's going to be really something. I want, at some point, for there to be a reunion picture. You, Ashley Eckstein, D. Bradley Baker, anybody who's there to come back. I would love to see a reunion photo. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, we kind of did that once a number of years ago. It was we all were at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood. Most of us were, and we were there for the 30th anniversary screening of Return of the Jedi. And so most of the cast was there, including Sam Witwer. We all lined up on the forecourt of the Egyptian Theater and had a group photo taken. I think it was like the first reunion photo we ever took. Tom Kane was out here from, because he lives out in Kansas, and it was great. It was a good time.
Now, you're currently voicing the Scarecrow character in the Emmy Award-winning series Lost in Oz on Amazon Prime, where you're also working with a number of colleagues like Nika Futterman, who was Asajj Ventress, Jennifer Hale, who was Ayla Sakura, and Gray Delisle, former Get Your Geek On alumni, who was Padme Amidala. My first question probably should be, is there some kind of secret club where y'all hang out? Because it seems y'all seem to get all these gigs together, but it actually is, how often do you see the people that you work with?
Well, you're talking about a special place like the Ink and Paint Club or something like that?
Secret handshake and all that.
Yeah. Well, you mean, do I see them outside of work, or you're talking about, do we see each other in the session? I'm not sure.
A little bit of both there, because again, it seems like y'all work in packs almost. If there's Tom Kane, then there's going to be several that go that way, and if there's going to be Stephen Stanton, then there's several that go with you as well. So do y'all see each other a lot, both in the studio and outside?
Well, in the studio, it really depends on the show, whether or not they record as an ensemble or whether they bring you in separately. And every show is different. Lost in Oz, they always record as an ensemble as much as possible. We did that, the same kind of thing on the Clone Wars. On Rebels, not as much. I didn't always go in with the cast, and a lot of times, really, that has to do with everybody's schedules being so hectic that it's hard to get a dozen voiceover actors all working on multiple shows and projects and commercials to get their schedules coordinated where they can all be in the same place at the same time. It takes a lot of juggling, like, okay, we're on for Tuesday, and then all of a sudden the next day you hear, okay, actually scrap Tuesday, we're going to try for Thursday, and then it'll be like, well, you know what, we're going to try Monday of next week. You get a lot of that going on. And as far as outside the studio, we don't see each other that much. Everybody has families and, like I said, busy schedules and kids and things like that. So to be honest, I think we all see each other the most on the job. That's where we really get a chance to catch up and spend time with one another.
Awesome. Now, you were born in Bavaria at a time when we had to describe Germany as either West or East. And then you jumped into the Hollywood industry by working at the Chinese theater. What was that transition like?
Well, I didn't grow up in Germany. I grew up here in the United States. So, I moved to the U.S. at a very early age. I was, less than a year old. So, I grew up in Florida, actually. So, transitioning from Florida to California was pretty easy. It was like, okay, California has less mosquitoes, less humidity, less alligators. That was a pretty good transition. And I had worked in movie theaters, when I lived in Florida. So I came out here to go to film school. First thing I did was try to look for a movie theater to work at. And I remember my roommate and we moved into a little apartment building right in the middle of Hollywood near Hollywood and Vine. And I thought, well, I better go see if there's any movie theaters in the neighborhood, not really knowing anything about Hollywood. And I just got out on the Hollywood Boulevard and started walking, and there was a movie theater like every block. There was a movie theater. So I walked from one end of Hollywood Boulevard to the end, and when I got to the end, there I saw the Grauman's Chinese Theater, and I literally had never seen anything so big and as gorgeous as that. So I walked in and submitted an application for a job and ended up getting it.
That's outstanding. Now, you did lose the mosquitoes, but you gained the earthquakes.
Well, we had tornadoes and hurricanes in Florida, so I thought it was an even trade. I mean, I was willing to take one for the other.
A good swap there. That's about right.
Yeah.
Now, great writers, they read other authors. Great athletes, they study their competition. What voice actors do you listen to and admire?
Especially when I was starting out, I was a big fan of a lot of the ensemble casts that you might find on, like the Stan Freberg comedy records or any of the Jay Ward animated shows. There's a lot of people, like June Foray and Bill Scott and, Stan Freberg himself. And I used to listen to a lot of old-time radio, like the Jack Benny Show or, Fred Allen. Phil Harris and Alice Faye, those kinds of shows. And what was great about it was you had these character actors like Hans Conried and Phil Harris and, all the guest stars that Jack Benny would have on his show. They were really had distinct voices, and a lot of those people ended up moving into animation. Some of them only did one particular kind of voice, but those were great people to study because they, especially in radio, they learned how to entertain with just the voice alone, without having to use having the camera there to show facial expressions or body movements or anything like that. They had to communicate everything just through the voice. So listening to those actors from that time period, that's always been like very educational for me.
When you did the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars Rebels, did you study any James Arnold Taylor in there?
No, they were asking me specifically to focus on Alec Guinness from the original trilogy, and I had been doing that character for Lucasfilm since about 2004. Starting with the video games like Battlefront 2, right up to the very end where we did Disney Infinity 3.0. So Old Ben Kenobi was something that I had worked on for a number of years, and they wanted specifically to put that version of the character into Star Wars Rebels. So yeah, my focus was Alec Guinness, and he even showed up in arcade games like the Star Wars Battle Pod. I don't know if you ever played that sort of 3D immersive game that puts you into the Star Wars different scenarios out of the original trilogy. It was a lot of fun.
As a matter of fact, Brian and I hold the top score on the duo for Star Wars Battle Pod over at Laser Legend. We love that game.
Kidding. No, it's a fantastic game. The first time I played it, I went chasing after the Millennium Falcon. I think I shot it out of the sky from Darth Vader's TIE Fighter.
Now, you're working on a pretty big charity event. Can you tell us what you're doing?
Well, recently we launched an Autographs for Charity website, and what this is, it's a website where you can. Because I don't do conventions, I really don't do the convention circuit. So we get a lot of requests from fans about autographed pictures. So we decided to put up a website that has all the photos that I have of my characters going back to the Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, Rogue One, have the Admiral Raddus action figures on there. They're all available for photograph, and all the proceeds go to charity from that website. And so we're going to be tweeting about it once a week just to get the word out there, because it's when you hang your shingle out on the internet, that's a big place, and if people don't know where to go, they just don't know where to find these things. So we're trying to get the word out and let people know that if they go to StephenStantonOnline.com, they can find these photographs. And we've got some stuff that's really exclusive. Back when when I was working on the Clone Wars, we would get let's say a particular episode would come out, and we'd make the call to Lucasfilm and Official Picks and say we'd love to have a scene of like Tarkin and Ahsoka in the jail cell. So they would print those out and have them sent to us. So a lot of the things that we have they're out of print, and they were hard to find in the first place. So we've got a lot of good things available for fans that collect autographs.
So these rare items are found at StephenStantonOnline.com. Did I got the web address correct, I hope?
That's right. And we have links on my website, StephenStanton.com, and on Twitter and Facebook. We're pointing people there just so it's easier to find.
Excellent. And we'll throw that up on our website and our Facebook page as well so fans can find them. Now, you've done a lot of work other than voice acting, but is there one place you'd like to have a live action scene at any point in time? Maybe on the set of a MASH episode, or I Dream of Jeannie, or maybe a Star Wars movie scene, maybe even something current like a Marvel movie. Is there one spot you'd like to put yourself into a scene?
When I think back on one of my favorite shows as a kid, it had one of my favorite actors in it, Guy Williams, who was Zorro, and then he did this science fiction series called Lost in Space, and that show with the robot and Dr. Smith and Will and Guy Williams as Professor Robinson. That's a show I wouldn't mind being on.
Any particular episode that you would just want to just watch it unfold? Go back in time and see it all happen?
A Trip Through the Robot, the one where the robot grows to a giant size and they all have to go inside of him to shrink him back down. I'm hoping that they do something like that on the reboot of Lost in Space, which I really enjoyed, the Netflix version, because there's so many opportunities to do wild stuff with Lost in Space. Anything goes.
That's true. Absolutely, anything can go. I think that's a great way to sum up that particular show. But let's circling back. I know we're almost out of time here, and I do want to thank you for talking to us here on Freedom 1160 KRDY. If you can sum up your emotional reaction to hearing the Clone Wars is back in one word, what would that one word be?
Thrilled.
Thrilled. I think that echoes literally millions of people out there right now. That is perfect. Alrighty, sir. Well, we want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us. You've been a fantastic guest on here with Get Your Geek On, and we want to wish you a very happy, good rest of the day. And we are looking forward to hearing more from you, hopefully back in Clone Wars.
Hey, you never know what the future holds.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me on the show.
You betcha. And there we go. That is Steven Stanton, the Star Wars voice actor. Man, to think that he got the news the same time we did. I mean, you think for sure some guy who worked with Dave Filoni as closely as he did would have gotten a heads up or something. But, I mean, that just goes to show the type of secrecy and security that they have going on at Lucasfilm. I mean, that's really incredible. Also going on out in California is the San Diego Comic-Con, and Peter Gonzalez, who we call Minion, is out there as well. He's uploaded pictures and videos and interviews and all sorts of San Diego goodness to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/GYGO Radio. We've got an entire album dedicated to all of these pictures. All of the videos are up there as well, so make sure you check that out. We'll be talking about San Diego Comic-Con here the second half of the hour, but if you couldn't be in San Diego, you can still have a lot of fun over at Dragon's Lair of Alamo Ranch. That's out on the west side of San Antonio off of 151 and 1604. This coming week, I think it's like next week and a half or so, they have an X-Wing tournament, King of Tokyo tournament, a wand painting class. There is so much going on out there. You want to make sure to head over to the Dragon's Lair out at Alamo Ranch. Some other news that broke, and this surprised a lot of people. I think this broke just yesterday, if I recall. It was yesterday or Friday, something like that.
I think it might have been Friday.
I think so.
Friday evening.
Yeah, Friday? Yeah, that's right. And that's James Gunn, the renowned director for Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy 2, will now no longer be doing Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because of some tweets he sent out, some of them about as old as a decade, like 2009 out there. And he actually apologized for these back in 2012. I mean, they're these kind of dark humor. You could argue maybe it's dark humor. It's kind of twisted and weird in a M. Night Shyamalan way, but it's just, some of them are kind of eye-raising.
Definitely. There are a few of them where... There are a few of them where I was reading where I was like, okay, this seems like he was joking around. And there were some of them where I'm like, all right, there's no way to justify that this is just kidding around.
Yeah, especially my wife put it this way. She said, taken by themselves.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. But when you start to put together, and there are like 12 or 15 of them.
Oh, yeah.
It starts to show as a pattern. But here's the thing that I don't understand. First of all, now, I'm not defending this by any means, but maybe announce that he's going to sensitivity training instead of firing him outright.
Yeah.
That seems a little bit better of an option. In fact, there was a Major League Baseball pitcher who, it turns out, when he was in high school some 7-odd years ago, he also sent out some tweets that were not, PC friendly. Yeah. And so they sent him to sensitivity training, like 30, 40 hours of that. So I don't know why they didn't do that with James Gunn. Well, that didn't make a lot of sense to me. You just outright fire him unless we have more going on that we don't know about.
Yeah.
I think that there's a smoking gun. I think there's something that happened, like a Papa John's moment maybe, that we just don't know about.
It could also be consistency with Disney. You know, they had that issue with Roseanne.
They did?
And it's a similar situation where there's tweets of an inflammatory nature. And with Disney, you don't mess with the mouse. So if anybody's promoting some type of boycott to the park, then Disney's going to shut that down.
Yeah, but we hadn't heard about any of that
yet, but Disney is very conscious in regards to the parks.
That's why I'm telling you, I think something else happened. I think there was a conference call. Maybe there's another series of tweets. Maybe there's a memo. Maybe somebody's about ready.
Like they're getting ahead of this a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe we're going to find out that maybe James Gunn had a driver once, and he dropped something racist, and the guy's about ready to do a tell-all to the National Enquirer. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think there's more to this than we know.
Definitely.
And Disney's trying to get out in front of it.
I can totally see that.
It's the only explanation I can think of. I mean, why else would you fire a guy who's made you like $2-something billion?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, at this point in a world where people get taken down so often for things they said in the past, if there's something potentially worse than this,
I guarantee right now there are people that will hire themselves out to scour celebrity tweets to find stuff like this. I guarantee it. So, all right, we got to come up to the bottom half of the hour break. Afterwards, it is all about San Diego Comic-Con. You didn't get there? No problem. We got it all covered for you right here on Freedom 1160 and freedom1160.com. All right, welcome back from the bottom of the hour news break. This is Get Your Geek on Freedom 1160 Talk Radio, powered by the Texas Renaissance Festival, with over 650,000 people attending the event from September 29th to November 25th. Get your tickets at texrenfest.com. I am Dave Gramillion, and if you missed the first half of our show, we had Steven Stanton, the Star Wars voice actor, come on and give us his first impression, first reaction, and that first emotional feel to the news that the Clone Wars is coming back. And it was interesting to discover that he didn't know about the news before anybody else did.
Yeah.
He was not in the inside, in the loop, so to speak. He knew about it at the same time that you and I did.
Yeah.
Or Goose did, or anybody else did. So that was shocking.
Interesting thing was we had this interview scheduled prior.
We did.
So we were going to talk to him about Clone Wars and all of that anyway. It's just a matter of the new part of that conversation. Yeah. Was not planned. We'd had no real preparation until the day of.
I think it was about 3 hours before the interview, and I'm frantically, emailing.
Because we want to be able to talk to him about it.
Yeah.
But we're not going to go against what Lucasfilm wants.
Sure. I mean, I didn't want to put him in the uncomfortable situation of,
I can't talk about it.
Well, and because this is live to Facebook, when we do these things, we had the same issue we had with, when we interviewed Dan Jurgens, where there was a question that they didn't quite understand.
Right.
So we had to take it out of the show version.
Yes.
And any subsequent thing, but it's live on Facebook. So we don't want that type of issue to happen anymore.
Exactly. That's why we tend not to do live interviews if we can help it on the air.
Yes.
That way you can work a little editing mojo in there,
Yes.
work your magic. So that's always good. Makes everybody happy that way and keeps us out of trouble, which is
Dave
great.
says I have mojo.
Editing mojo.
Oh, okay.
Editing.
My bad.
There you go. Speaking of which, I want to talk to you for a minute about the guys over at Havoc. That's the heroes and villains of cosplay right here in San Antonio. A lot of people want to cosplay, but they're not sure what to do. Who should I cosplay as? Where do I get materials? Do I join a group? What do I do? How does this work? And you want to talk to the people over at Havoc. Heroes and Villains of Cosplay in San Antonio is a nonprofit. These guys are fantastic, and they're not picky about the cosplay. You want to cosplay as a pirate, you can do that. You want to do vampire, you can do that. You want to do Iron Man, you can do that too. You want to do Jedi, Sith, knock yourself out. But do it with our friends over at the Heroes and Villains of Cosplay. All right, as promised, this is the entire second half devoted to San Diego Comic-Con. This is like the Oscars. Oh, yeah. This is the Oscars for geeks because there is so much news that will come out during the San Diego Comic-Con, and a lot of it has to do with movie trailers. a lot of movie trailers have been highly anticipated. And we're going to run down the list here, and we're going to discover right now who won San Diego Comic-Con and who lost it. I mean, who just laid an absolute egg and a dud out there. So let's go right off the top of the list here. Let's talk DC. DC had 2 trailers released at San Diego Comic-Con. One we knew was coming. That was Aquaman.
Okay.
We talked about that on the show ahead of time. And the next one was Shazam, which was kind of expected, but kind of a surprise also. So let's talk about the 2 differences here. First of all, I think DCEU right here hit it out of the park.
Of order, it's no longer called DCEU. It's called the World of DC.
Which is terrible.
Now that's the official name now.
Yeah, I hate it.
Well, it is what it is. DCEU was never the official name. That's how whatever they called it. It does have an official name called the Worlds of DC now.
Okay, so the World of DC knocked it out of the park. They had to. This had to be a win for them to get people pumped up because there are no more Marvel movies for the rest of the year. There are no more Star Wars movies for the rest of the year. This is DC's time to shine, and they'll do that with the Aquaman
because Marvel
movie.
had no presence.
Right.
San Diego.
Oh, yeah, they pulled out completely.
Yeah.
They left it all for Star Wars under the House of Mouse. So DC had the Aquaman trailer, and it was okay for me.
The Aquaman trailer, the DC Aquaman trailer, I thought it was garbage.
I liked it.
I did not like it.
Well, I'll tell you what then. How about I back out and play moderator? Clickbait, you tell us why it was garbage, and then we'll go over to Goose, who can say why it was
I have so
not.
many opinions on this. Yeah, no, it was garbage because, one, like, how did we get a better Shazam trailer when Aquaman hasn't it been in production longer, and haven't they been working on this movie longer? And I didn't like the trailer. I didn't like the story. I didn't like how they narrated to you exactly what the movie is gonna be. Like, and I've seen that movie 70 times. Like, it looks like the same thing I've seen several times, and the CG just looked like terrible.
I've got it in my notes here that I said it looks like the Lion King again.
Yeah.
Okay, so this exiled guy has to come back and challenge his brother for the throne. I mean, it was his uncle in The Lion King, but still, he has to come back from
Sounds
being
like a
exiled.
popular Marvel movie that came out.
He's got to fight for his home. Yeah, it sounds a little bit like Black Panther.
Just verbatim.
Just a little bit. So, all right. So you're saying, Clickbait, that it was hot garbage.
Garbage.
Okay.
Garbage.
All right. Goose, defend the trailer, please.
So, as we all know, everybody knows the story of Aquaman. Everybody does. And if you watch the Throne of Atlantis DC animated movie, this is basically a live-action version of that. However, I will say Jason Momoa as Arthur Curry is very good. Mira does a good job. And I like the CGI because all that underwater stuff is all CGI. It has to be. Now, I don't understand why they chose Ocean Master versus Black Manta. I don't understand that. I don't get it. But if they're going to do the Throne of Atlantis storyline as a movie, I have no problem with that. Now, they haven't made clear yet whether this was a prequel to Justice League or a sequel to Justice League. They haven't made that clear. But my guess it's going to be it's a sequel, since Arthur is going to embrace the Atlantean part of him more. Mm-hmm. If you've seen Super Friends, you know his origin story. You know, Atlantis, woman, human, male, things happen.
All right.
Yeah. But I think actually the trailer is going to be the worst part of it. I like the trailer. I'm going to go see the movie opening weekend because that's what I do. But I enjoyed the trailer. I enjoyed it for what it was.
And it's kind of interesting. I'm in the middle. I'm kind of meh about it. I mean, it showed me two different villains. It's a story that I've seen before. The underwater looked really good.
Did it?
Like Little Mermaid good? I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I thought it looked like Shark Boy and Lava Girl at some points.
Whoa.
Yeah, I hated it.
Whoa, shots fired.
Yeah.
At least he didn't go the Sharknado route.
That's true. that all. Yeah, there was no Tara Reid in this, so that's a blessing, right?
Well, now I don't like it.
All right, so Shazam was the other trailer that came out.
Yes.
Oh, I love that thing.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. That was pretty good.
Yes.
I think it's going to be really good for teens and preteens.
Oh yeah,
I think they're going. That is where they are targeting this movie towards. Adults.
Well, and here's the difference, I think, between Shazam and Aquaman. Aquaman's always been one of the A-list DC heroes. He's been one of the main components of Super Friends since day one. He's been part of the Justice League in almost every iteration known to man. Mm-hmm. Shazam has always gotten less love because he wasn't an original DC contraption. He was from Charlton Comics,
right,
back in the day. And because he is so like Superman when he's, the quote Captain Marvel unquote. That if you're gonna have him do something, just have Superman do it.
This is true.
Well, that's true.
So
That's true. I mean, he's bulletproof. He can fly. He has super strength. I'm just saying.
have Superman do it.
Pretty much.
But-
now, I want you to go back, when this show's over, go back and watch that trailer again and tell me that the young Billy Batson, who's played by Asher Angel, tell me he doesn't remind you a lot of Tobey Maguire in the first Spider-Man movie.
I can definitely see that.
can see that.
I saw it on your notes, and I was like, yep.
I mean, you go back and watch it again with that mindset, and you'll be like, holy cow, it is. It's Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
It's that same mannerism, that same kind of cockiness.
Now, I think they would do a disservice to the franchise if they didn't bring in Freddie and Mary and the Captain Marvel or the Shazam family, because otherwise, just make another Superman movie at that point.
Right.
You know.
Exactly. All right, so DC, give it a report card grade, A to F. Goose, go.
When you take a look at the Flash, Arrow, Legends, and Supergirl trailers that were released as well, I'm giving it an A+ over the weekend.
A+, just nailed it. Out of the park. Give it to me, clickbait.
I'm giving it an A+ just off of Shazam. I've been telling you forever.
No.
No, I understand all the other stuff, but it's like even if they did okay with everything else, Shazam was a test grade that just pushed it over for me because I've been
The
super
world of
excited
DC.
about
I'm
this.
holding your feet to the fire.
Yeah.
World of DC. Give me a report card grade.
It's an A.
Okay. All right. So even though the Aquaman trailer was hot garbage, that wasn't enough to bring it down from.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Okay. I'm gonna go B+. Not terrible, not fantastic, but it does make me want to know more.
Now,
I have some relatively high hopes, and before, I'm sorry, but I have been burned too much by the DCEU and their trailers.
World of DC.
The world. The Suicide Squad trailer alone, it should be enough of a cautionary tale for the rest of the world of DC going forward.
That was their best movie, though.
The world of Shazam.
Can we fire him now?
Yeah, I know. We're about ready to throw clickbait out of here. The Shazam trailer, yes, it looked great. So did the Suicide Squad trailer. So I'm cautiously optimistic. So let's move on to Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers had the Godzilla trailer.
Ooh.
Yes.
Man, that was a lot of monsters.
That was a lot of monsters.
That wasn't just Godzilla versus Rodan or Godzilla versus Mothra. That was Godzilla versus everyone.
Yeah.
Like, literally. But the one thing, it's so cookie cutter by now. Once again, humanity is the evil of the planet. Once again, man is bad. Once again, we're the plague, the infection, the fever that's getting ready to kill all of humanity. Again.
So there was one trailer we forgot to talk about.
For
DC.
what? Oh, the world of
Titans.
Oh. My grade just changed. I forgot. My
yeah.
grade totally just changed. Now we're like back at a C.
That Titans trailer was a piece of hot garbage.
Yeah, that was garbage.
It's kind of started off pretty good. Not gonna lie.
Did it?
Yeah, I thought it started pretty
It
good.
started off good with Raven and Grayson.
And
Yeah.
then, man, and then it dropped like the stock market crash of 29, man. I
Yeah.
mean, it just cratered.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
There's that one line that I've told you about that I can't say.
Yeah, that we can't say on the air.
And also the Raven. Not the Raven.
the
The Raven's stuff is good. Starfire. The Starfire stuff just
What
gets me, man.
Maintain.
Can't take it.
Okay, all right. Well, so seriously now, Godzilla. Yeah, I don't like the storyline.
I don't like it either, but I'm gonna watch it just because the monsters look really cool.
The monsters do look fantastic.
So, but how much of these monsters going to be in this movie? Because the first Godzilla
Had
had
Godzilla.
like 20% Godzilla, if even that. It had more Bryan Cranston than it had Godzilla in it, and
Bryan Cranston, just like with all sci-fi movies, the actors get nowhere near the credit they deserve for what they do.
Well,
in
of
those
course
films.
not. But the storyline, I'm tired of the storyline. I'm so sick of it. I really am.
Yeah.
How we're destroying the planet. The planet's fighting back. Blah, 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 blah. It happens all the time. I'm serious. I think we get one of this type of movie like every year.
no, we definitely do. And like you said, the story is tired. I don't necessarily care for the amount of monsters there is because none of them are going to be special now. It's just going to be just 50 monsters, and Godzilla's going to come in and wreck them all.
It's
and that's gonna be
like
it.
the Star Wars prequels. All of a sudden, everybody has a lightsaber. Little
Yeah.
kids have a lightsaber. You know, learning from Yoda means nothing now because everybody learns from Yoda. It dumbs it down. It waters it all down.
It just devalues what they've built up.
So I give Warner Brothers, even though the monsters look cool, the fighting looks great, but I got to give Warner Brothers a C.
But nowhere did they show the kid with the dagger that plays like a flute call the monster. I mean, I don't understand.
They also didn't have the little Japanese girls that sang the Mothra.
All right.
So they didn't have that either.
Well, no,
so.
I was just waiting for the dun 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 dun
Yeah.
before Godzilla showed up.
Clickbait, your grade for Warner Brothers?
I'm gonna say B. It was all right.
Okay.
All right.
Goose?
I'd give it a B minus.
Okay, so I'm the harsher critic, and I'm used to that because I'm such an evil person. It's just it's terrible. All right, Disney.
Embrace it.
Yes.
Disney. Oh man, did Disney hit it out of the park with the Clone Wars announcement? Oh my God, the fangasming was just incredible across the social media. I saw one person that I've known for years, and he said he was crying when he saw the announcement. He cried when he
Wow.
saw that the Clone Wars are coming back.
Wow.
Now, of course, they're probably going to come back. Watch, I'll bet you money they're going to come back on that streaming service.
Oh, that Disney streaming service?
I bet
oh, yeah.
money it'll come back on the streaming service. But yeah, okay, it's a hook. Knock yourself out. And then they showed us the next season of DuckTales with their trailer.
So what they didn't show you was when the guy cried, Dave Filoni had his mug right under him.
Ooh, for the fanboy tears. So, okay, I'm not really sold on the new DuckTales, but I did like that they had a crossover with Tailspin, and they're sitting there and they're singing the Darkwing Duck theme song.
Yeah, it was
Just
cool.
like every kid was singing the Darkwing Duck theme song. So I give Disney props for that. I just, I'm not sold on the new DuckTales. I'm sorry. So I give Disney, for everything there, I give them a B, solid B.
I mean, I'm about at the same.
What is that? What is that noise? Oh my God! What is going on? No! Stop it!
But
Clickbait,
yeah,
you're great.
a B. Just because I don't care immensely about these properties, there was nothing that made me want to jump back into them.
Goose.
So I'm a 90s kid, unlike you millennial over there. I like
only
DuckTales.
You like the
I did.
DuckTales?
I did. I liked it. It was really good. I just think there's more. I wish they would keep the original theme, but otherwise, I think it was quite good.
Okay. Alrighty. The BBC also released a Doctor Who trailer that was about 4 seconds in length, 3 seconds in length, something like that. It's like they're trying to show us the new Doctor, and yet at the same time not show us the new Doctor. They're showing us the Doctor and her Scooby Gang, apparently. And I'm like, okay, that's nice, but we don't get to see the Doctor very much. So I'm going to call this just kind of a meh. I have high hopes because the BBC usually does a really good job with the Doctor, but at the same time, a Scooby Gang, and she's talking about how, I want you to be my new best friends. And I'm like, that's not...
So I'm wondering if they're going to have a musical episode.
It hurts. It hurts.
It could be 13th More with Feeling.
Oh God! Seriously? Oh no. So we got a teaser trailer that featured more food than anything else, and now we got a full-on trailer that lasted, in all seriousness, about 38 seconds, I think it was, and that just hardly showed anything other than the Scooby Gang. Oh. So yeah, I'm gonna give it an incomplete. I don't think I'm gonna give this one a grade. There's not much that they're showing us, so I don't know if I can grade it.
I'm not even teaching this class. This
You want not even audit? You want to audit the class?
Not even. This is just a property that I just don't even mess with. Like I'm just not into that part of geek culture.
Alrighty, Goose. What about you?
I'm gonna give it a good wait and see.
So an incomplete.
An incomplete because they haven't shown enough. I mean, with Capaldi and even Matt Smith, they didn't show a whole lot, but this is a whole different age now than even when Capaldi took over. Fans want to know more, especially since this is the first female Doctor. We don't know anything.
All right.
They released a picture of the sonic screwdriver, which it looks cool, but they haven't shown us anything about the TARDIS yet. Obviously, the exterior is going to be a police box, but they haven't shown us any of the interior shots of the TARDIS yet that I've seen. And we just don't know about this character enough, I don't think, to be able to grade one way or the other.
I think they could have given us a better trailer than they did. I didn't understand why they're not showing, the excitement and the explosions and the racing through time on the TARDIS.
Oh, like they did with Capaldi.
And Matt Smith and David Tennant and Eccleston and so on and so forth.
Well, Eccleston still had the old the old feel to it.
Well, that's true, but they showed her like climbing a hill, and she like ran through a hallway or something, and
Yeah.
I'm like, great. I mean, but that's it. Everything else is devoted to the Scooby Gang, so I give them the incomplete grade there. Sony let us have the Spider-Verse trailer, and it was okay.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with the animation quality. Looks
Yeah.
like they dumped some serious bucks into this.
Yeah, it made me a little more excited for the project. I'm just really curious to see what Sony's doing with this property in particular, because it's not a live-action Spider-Man movie. It's not anything that they've done before, and I really want to know how well this is going to pan out, especially with things like Teen Titans Go, that movie coming out, how that those new animated superhero movies are going to kind of work with audiences.
Goose, did you catch that one?
I did it. I think it's okay. For me, Peter Parker will always be my Spider-Man. So when they go to the Miles Morales thing, it's my heart's not in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, if I want to do a Spider-Verse story, I'll go to the original story they did in the comics that features Peter a little bit more. So
December this year is going to be slam-packed with movie. Listen to what's coming out in December this year. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, December 14th. Wednesday the 19th, Mary Poppins Returns. And then on the 21st, all these movies come out the same day. Aquaman, Bumblebee, Holmes and Watson, Alita, Battle Angel. They all four come out the same day.
Yeah.
Not like the same weekend, the same day. It's a Friday the 21st. I mean, are you kidding me? That is, I just, who arranges the schedule? Who does that? We also got this thing about, what do they call it? Marvel Rising Secret Warriors.
all female superhero cartoon.
All
coming out.
female. It's got Squirrel Girl. So,
right.
that's something. Set to be released in late 2018.
Yeah, now the interesting about that, it also has Quake, who is voiced by Chloe Bennett, who is Quake in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, I
That's
didn't know
true.
that.
That's right. Dove Cameron will be Gwen Stacy. We're going to have Gwen Stacy, Quake, Inferno, Ms. Marvel, not Captain Marvel, although that may change. Squirrel Girl, Patriot, and they are going to have Captain Marvel.
Yeah, so they're going to have Kim Raver play Captain Marvel, who Kim Raver you may know from 24 or recently in Lone Survivor.
And Dee Bradley.
Well, not Lone Survivor, Designated Survivor.
And Dee Bradley Baker will be on there as Lockjaw.
Yep, and Ming
As
Wen
Lockjaw.
will be Hala the Accuser.
That'll be
She's
good.
also on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
In Star Trek Discovery?
No, she was on
that-
Stargate Universe.
Stargate Universe. That's where I was going with that. Okay. Alrighty. So grade for Sony. They did release a little bit of Venom, but nothing too serious.
Yeah, nothing that we've seen as of yet.
Yeah, it wasn't anything tremendous. So the Spider-Verse trailer for Sony, give a grade for Sony here, clickbait.
Just a B. All right.
Yeah, I'll give it a B+. I was reasonably impressed by the animation.
C.
Goose? A C.
C.
Woo, yikes.
Dang.
Alrighty, that leaves us with CBS and the Star Trek Discovery trailer. Yeah, I think my wife echoed this perfectly. I'm talking about her a lot, but she nailed it. She's like, can we get away from Spock? Can we get away from Spock, please? For the love of God, make this about itself. You brought Pike on. That's great. He's going to captain the Discovery. That's great. Fate of the Galaxy hangs in the balance. That's great. Can we get it away from Spock? Spock. Goose, I know you want to sound off.
All right, so one thing I've always said, don't involve the Enterprise in any way, shape, or form. Well, they didn't listen to me because they don't really have to. So
That's true.
They brought in the Enterprise. They brought in Christopher Pike. I like the design of the uniforms, even because it's as close to the original as we're going to get.
Yep.
I like the fact that, the casting was spot on, in my opinion.
Yeah, he looks great.
And I think the attitude that I see in the trailer matches the Pike post Cage.
Yep.
All right. So I don't have a problem with it. They did say we're going to see Spock this season. Good God, why? There's no reason for that outside of fan service. But by the way, since you changed the uniforms, where's the fan service? You don't have any.
Yeah.
So reference the Enterprise, reference Pike, but don't show anybody but Pike because fan hate is a real thing, as we've seen, because the lady who plays Starfire blocked her Twitter or Instagram account
Yeah.
because of fan hate.
Yep.
So fan hate's a thing. Don't ask for it. if you don't have to. But I'm going to watch it. I think it's going to be an interesting season, or at least half season, with Pike in charge of the Discovery for a while. So it looks really good.
All right, so we need to declare our winners and loser. One winner, one loser from each of us. I'm picking DC as the winner, especially because they needed this. The pressure was on. They had to hit the home run. I think they did it. DC is the winner. The big loser for me, I'm going to have to go with, I hate to say it, but the BBC. This is the big stage. This is stepping out on the largest stage in all of geekdom, and you put out a 40-second trailer, 38 to 40-second trailer that showed very, very little. So that's a big-time swing and a miss for me. So that's my winner and my loser of San Diego Comic-Con. Clickbait, hit us.
So my winner, like yours, is definitely DC, but I also can't name them my loser.
The world of
DC. And you know what? I just have to. I would think my loser would probably just be the Spider-Verse from the Sony stuff.
The Sony,
and
okay.
Just because there's nothing there. Like, I'm definitely a little more interested in it. Nothing there blew my socks off or made me want to. Like, I just felt so indifferent about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Goose, your winner and loser for the San Diego Comic-Con.
So I'm going to go with World of DC because of the Shazam and Aquaman. Because the Shazam, we came out of nowhere. We didn't even know that was coming. I'm not a big fan of the Clone Wars. I've never actually sat down and watched the series, so I can't give Disney a grade on that. So I'm going to have to go with loser is the BBC because, again, a whole lot of lack of information. Now, if they're keeping it close to the chest because they want to surprise us all with how much it's awesome is going to be there, okay, fine. But still, because we got a whole lot of information from everybody else and nothing from them, I believe them to be the loser when it involves trailers.
Yeah, this is their time to really step it up. This is their time to announce to the world what this is going to be, what direction they're going to go, what message they want to send, who Jodie Whittaker is, who her doctor's going to be. And it's like they just kind of, they airballed a free throw.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did. They airballed a free throw. So, goodness. All right, well, that will wrap it up here for Goose, for Alex, and for myself. I do want to thank our sponsors, the Texas Renaissance Festival, Dragon's Lair Alamo Ranch, Havoc, and the Mailing Spot here in San Antonio. Thank you for listening, and be sure to get your geek on every single day. We're glad you watched this video. We work really hard to put out some great quality content for geeks out there. If you liked that video, don't worry about it because there are plenty more out there. You can click right here to find more videos, more interviews, more clips, more fan theories, more of just really everything out there under the sun that we do. But you can also click here and mash that subscribe button because that way you just don't miss it. You get a little ping. You don't have to go digging for anything. We bring the news right to you. Just mash that subscribe button. You're good to go.